mother of 4 sons, I am constantly on the go and my to-do list is never ending. I always feel like there's not enough hours in the day to get done all the things I want to complete, and I always feel like I'm chasing my tail, which is why I always welcome any kind of practical advice or practical tips that can simplify my life and save me time and money. So if you can relate to my situation and you're looking for budgeting tips that will help you save yourself some time and money, you've clicked on the right video, because in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 12 practical budgeting tips that are going to save you some time, save you some money, and make your life easier as a busy mum. The first thing you want to do is automate your bill payments. If you're one of those mothers that spend a lot of time on a monthly basis paying for bills, phoning up the gas man to pay the gas bill, phoning up the electricity company to make that payment, or going to the post office on a monthly basis to make those payments, you really want to change the way you do things and automate all those payments so that you set it once and forget it, rather than wasting time every month making those payments. Set those bills as standing orders and direct debits, and that's going to save you a lot of time on a monthly basis. Set up automatic payments for everything from your council tax to your mortgage payment, to your rent payments, to your kids' extracurricular activities, after school clubs, anything that surrounds the family, because it's going to simplify your life and it's going to save you so much time. Another thing that's going to save you some time, maybe not as much money, but definitely time. If you're one of those busy mums that work from home and don't have the time to get to the grocery store all the time, just order your groceries online. This is something you can do while you're working from home at the computer, or even if you're working in the office. Order your groceries. By the time you get home, the groceries will be there waiting for you. Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, all the big supermarkets, they now do that. A lot of supermarkets do delivery services and they do it throughout the day at any time slot. So you can get time slots first thing in the morning and also late in the evening. The time of day that you do book these slots has a big impact on the price you pay. So if you do want to save a little bit of money while saving yourself time, book the slots that are at the more inconvenient times, because that's where you pay less for delivery, and sometimes you may even get free delivery too. Unfortunately, Aldi so far do not do online grocery delivering, because if they did, I will be signing up, because that will just make my life so much easier. But for the time being, I have to carry myself to the grocery store every Friday. But if you're one of those people that don't shop at Aldi and you shop at one of the other supermarkets that I've mentioned, or any other supermarket that does online delivery, then definitely take advantage of that. Save yourself that hassle of having to go to the shop to buy your groceries and order it from the comfort of your own home. While on the topic of online grocery ordering, I think another great thing about it is it makes you buy less, because you know exactly what you're ordering, you know exactly what you're buying. All of those temptations that you have when you're in the supermarket are removed. And those temptations I'm talking about are things like those discounted offers that you see at the till point, or those special offer shelves that you see of those new products that I've launched. It's a lot easier, I think, to spend extra money in the store just throwing things in your basket than it is to do it when you're shopping online. I mean, granted, there are still special offers online as well, but I feel like it's much easier to fall for it in store than it is when you're doing online shopping. I think a big reason for that is because you can see the total of what you're buying and how much it's costing as you're adding items to your trolley on the computer. Whereas your physical trolley in the store, you might think you've got £50 worth of shopping, and then you get to the till and surprise, surprise, it's £100 worth of shopping. And sometimes you don't want to give into that embarrassment and shame of having to put things back. So you just end up having to spend all that extra money that you didn't plan on spending. Whereas when you're doing it in the comfort of your own home, when you see the checkout and you see the total amount and you know that that's beyond your budget, you could just quickly remove items at your own discretion and nobody will know. Another essential budgeting tip for busy mums is to apply the 72-hour rule. Now, the 72-hour rule is where you want to make a purchase and you sit back and wait and consider it for 72 hours before you commit to that transaction. Applying the 72-hour rule when it comes to your shopping is going to save you so much money, because a lot of those impulse purchases that you were planning to make, when you sleep on it for a couple of days, 9 out of 10 times you can talk yourself out of making that purchase and save yourself some money. A great thing about the 72-hour rule is that it helps you to curb that impulse spending. It also encourages you to be mindful about your spending, because you're thinking about and considering your purchases before you make them. And ultimately, this is going to save you so much time and save you so much money, because the worst thing you want to do is buy something you don't need only to have to waste time returning it again a few days later. Another essential budgeting tip for busy mums like you is for you to batch cook. If batch cooking and meal prepping is not something that you've tried, trust me, Give it a go and you are not going to regret it. Batch cooking is something I've been doing for a while now, the past few years, and it's a game changer. Granted, I don't do it every single week because life gets busy and there's only so much hours in a day. Sometimes there's activities and events on the weekend that prevent me from doing this, but I can tell you for sure there's a big difference between the weeks that I'm able to batch cook and meal prep versus the weeks that I don't. And that's why I can say it with my chest with so much confidence that batch cooking and meal prepping is not only going to save you a lot of time, it's going to save you a lot of money too, because you're buying ingredients for a specific purpose to make a specific meal, and you know exactly what you're buying and what you're going to cook, so there's less wastage. And then also it stops you from making those impulse takeaway decisions during the week on the nights that you can't be bothered to cook. Because the food is already prepped and already made, there's less chances of you spending money unnecessarily on takeaways. Not only are you saving yourself time or money, you know exactly what your children are eating, you know exactly what you're eating because you're making those nutritious meals from scratch yourself at home. Another great budgeting tip for busy mums that are going to save you time and save you money is for you to set a designated time for budgeting in the week. It could be on a Sunday afternoon or a Friday night, whatever specific time you can set apart during the week. Do that and set that as your budget time once a week, where you set the numbers, you review the numbers and you adjust accordingly for the following week. Getting into that habit and getting into that routine of weekly budgeting is going to, in the long run, save you time and money because you're quickly able to identify any mistakes that you've made during the week with your budget, any changes that need to be made to the budget for it to work for the following week, or anything you want to cut back and reduce your spending on for the week ahead. Having that weekly time where you review the budget, where you plan for the week ahead, it's going to save you time and money in the long run. Another great budgeting tip, which I've spoken about at length on this channel before, is using cashback sites and cashback apps. If you are not using cashback apps and you're based in the UK, apps like Cheddar, Airtime Reward and Top Cashback, you are leaving free money on the table. Here's my referral code for Cheddar and here's my referral code for Airtime Rewards. These are two apps that I don't live without. Anytime I make purchases, my cashback is automatically given to me if one of the companies that I'm shopping at is in those two programs. So it's worth downloading if you haven't yet done so. The link is in the description box below. Download those apps and it's going to save you so much money on a monthly basis, and it's going to free up money in your budget to put towards other expenses. Cashback apps save you so much money on your shopping with very little effort. As a busy mum of four, like I mentioned earlier, simplifying my life is something I want to work towards. And if you're in a financial position where you can do it now. Get help where you can. This is going to save you so much time. Maybe not money, but it's going to save you a lot of time. And I guess you could actually argue for the money saving part of it as well, because the time that you're using to spend on tasks that you don't want to do, you could potentially use that time to make money. So in that case and that situation, actually outsourcing a lot of the tasks that you don't want to do could actually save you both time and money. I'm working towards the position of being able to outsource a lot of things in life, such as cleaning and batch cooking that I mentioned earlier. That meal prepping, if I could outsource and pay somebody to do it, best believe me, I would like to do that, because that time that I'm spending cooking and cleaning, I could potentially be using it to spend with my family, or I could use it to invest in growing my business. I know that's probably quite a controversial thing to say, because it's like your wife, your job is to cook and clean, but you know, it's 2023, we are moving with the times. and actually, yes, you can do both. But why do I have to come and kill myself if I don't have to? If I can pay someone to do the same thing to the same level that I would do it myself, why not do it? So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. If you can afford to outsource parts of your life to save yourself some time and save yourself money and to keep yourself in a good mental state, then definitely do it. If you can afford to do so, I should caveat and say, I'm not saying go and now get a cleaner and a cook and a help and an au pair and all the rest of it if you can't afford to do it and you're over leveraging yourself. But if you can comfortably afford to do so and it can simplify your life and it can free up your time to put towards other things, like I said, spending time with your children, etc., then why not do so? Set yourself some clear financial goals and some clear milestones. By doing this, by setting yourself these clear financial goals and setting yourself these milestones, it's really going to help you to stay motivated and stay on track to achieving your budgeting goals. These financial goals, you can track them on a planner. I'll link a few in the description box below, but you can also just literally track it on pen and paper or an app on your phone. But just having it written down, being able to visualize it and see the goals that you're working towards is really going to help you when it comes to your budget and making certain certain decisions. It's going to be easier to say no when you know what you're working towards, when you know how close you are to achieving your goals. Whereas when you don't have these goals, when you don't have milestones that you're working towards, when it's not clearly defined, it's easy for you to be distracted by other people, by other things pulling you left and right, which are ultimately going to end up destroying your budget. Another essential budgeting tip for busy mums is for you to use the calendar when it comes to planning for your family. It would be so great to have a shared family calendar where you can all see important dates, important milestones, important anniversaries, things coming up in the following month, so that everyone's on the same page and knows exactly what's happening and when. This will help make life so much simpler, and it will ensure that the whole family is on the same page, which again is going to save you a lot of time in the long run, because the last thing you want to do is make a doctor's appointment for your child only to realize that they have football that day and you're going to have to call back and change the appointment time for a later date. Another great budgeting tip is bulk buying when it comes to non-perishable goods and goods that have a long shelf life. You don't want to be buying rice every single week when you go food shopping. That is not the best use of your time. If you're somebody that knows you eat a lot of rice, in my house we eat a lot of rice, there's always rice at home, and because of that we prefer to buy the big 10 kg bag as opposed to every week buying the 1 kg bag at the supermarket. Just making those little shifts and not buying things every single week saves you so much time in the long run. I saw an ad the other day for these tissue papers on TikTok. If I find it, I'll link it in the description box below. It was like 72 rolls of tissue paper for like 13 or 14 pounds. So it worked out so much cheaper than if you were to buy a multi-pack of 4, but also 72 loo rolls are going to last a long time in your house. So buy it once and you can have it for months rather than having to buy that item every time you go shopping. Another great tip for busy mums when it comes to saving money and saving yourself time, you want to invest in energy efficient and time saving kitchen appliances. The kind of appliances I'm referring to here are things like slow cookers and air fryers. Oh my gosh, I got an air fryer for Christmas last year and it was the best gift ever. It took me a while to get used to using it, but now that I've started using it, every week when I'm batch cooking, I always use the air fryer because it halves the time of prepping a lot of meals. A lot of things you could just pop in there, set the timer and come back and your food is done. It's just the most time-saving way to do your meal prep. So when you're in the kitchen doing your meal prepping on the weekend, you want to spend as little time as possible in there. So if you can use something like a slow cooker, for example, where you put your meats in there, put your veg in there and set it for 5 hours, come back, Bob's your uncle, your meal is done. It's a no-brainer. So if you have these appliances already, make use of them. And if you don't have them and it's something you can afford to buy, then definitely buy them. And if you can't afford to buy it, save up and work towards getting them, because it's going to save you so much time and so much money in the long run. The last budgeting tip that I'm going to mention in today's video that's not only going to save you time, it's going to save you a lot of money also, is to embrace a life of minimalism. I mentioned minimalism in a few recent videos, and that's because it's something I'm working on myself and I'm really moving towards it in the new year. It's on my goal list. I'll talk about that in another video, but it's something I want to encourage others to do as well, because embracing that simpler life, that slower pace of life, that less is more type of mentality, it's going to save you time and it's going to save you money. Because I don't know about you, but in my house at the moment we have a lot of stuff, and because we have a lot of stuff, it takes a lot of time to clean all these things. So if we had less stuff, it would just make sense by default that it takes less time to clean because there's less things to clean. So what's the point of having so much stuff that you hardly use? Because what you find, I don't know whose law it is actually, if I find it I'll link it in the description box below, but it talks about the fact that we use 20% of the things 80% of the time. So a lot of our stuff we use 20% of it out of the 100% that we have, and that's the same for our clothes. So in your wardrobe, look at your wardrobe, you'll find that you wear 20% of your clothing 100% of the time. The other 8% is just there gathering dust and taking up space and just creating unnecessary clutter. So adopting a minimalistic lifestyle is not only going to save you so much time, it's going to save you so much money as well, because not only are you going to be able to clear your space, you're going to also be able to sell some of that stuff to make additional money to put towards any other financial goals that you may be working towards. So in summary, those are 12 different budgeting tips to help you as a busy mum to save yourself some time and save yourself some money. Feel free to apply the ones that you think will help you on your financial journey, and the ones that don't, that's fine, leave it for the next person to pick up and run with. If you made it this far in today's video and you haven't yet given it a thumbs up, then you know exactly what you need to do right now. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, because it really helps the channel a lot more than you know. And click this video here for more financial education and more money motivation.